Hello there, my name is Matt Schifferly. I'm an inventor, author of books like Smart Bodyweight Training and Fitness Independence, and this is the Red Delta Project podcast, where we teach you how to get stronger, bigger muscles with grind-style calisthenics, leaner, healthier, and more fit with satisfying, healthy eating strategies. So if you're watching this on YouTube, immediately you notice something is different because I got my little studio here. I got my background, I got some good audio stuff going on finally, I've got some studio lighting. So this is hopefully an improvement on the way I usually post the RDP podcast here on YouTube. If you like it, give it a thumbs up. Let me know down below in the comment section. And if you're listening to this on like Apple Podcasts and stuff, well, use your imagination. So today's topic is about a new idea about training programming that's kind of making the rounds, and I'm getting a lot of questions on it, on this idea of training frequently, but not driving yourself into the ground, kind of a low fatigue approach. And I know there was a trainer, an MMA coach on the Joe Rogan podcast, talked at length about this. There's some articles floating around out there. It's getting some traction, and it seems very appealing, admittedly so. But at the same time, it's also getting quite a bit of criticism. I've long talked about training every single day in a lot of my videos, and some folks are like, this is ridiculous. It's the stupidest thing ever. And that criticism isn't without its merits. The reason for that is because a lot of the ways that we've long approached our exercises are actually based on the sport of bodybuilding. And go into any gym, most of the equipment there is about bodybuilding. Most of the exercises, bodybuilding. And our approaches to diet and exercise and training and our methods about health and fitness, bodybuilding. Which is kind of unusual when you think about it, because bodybuilding is a very niche sport. Compared to things like baseball and football, it's tiny. And yet its basic principles and understanding are what our fitness culture as a whole is based on. And there's a number of reasons why. I go over this in my book, Fitness Independence, but a lot of it comes from the fact that bodybuilding started to get more popular at a time when health and fitness started to become more popular. People are like, what do we do? How do we do this? And also people were also very interested in changing more the aesthetic side of their body rather than the functional side of it. So naturally, anything that talked about six-pack abs and bigger arms and leaner legs was going to gain a lot more traction and attention in the media. So that's where things have been going in that direction for years. And one of the principal tenets of building up your muscles and bodybuilding is you take a muscle and you bash it and smash it and crash it and tear it and damage it and all this sort of detrimental. You basically want to try and almost kill the muscle with fatigue and high intensity, and then you allow it to build back up and recover. You have super compensation so that it gets a little bit bigger and a little bit stronger, and you do that repeatedly, and that's how you get bigger and stronger. Great idea, wonderful approach, works fantastic, but not for everything. And now this idea of low fatigue, but high volume approach is now looking at the idea of saying, you know what, maybe this one tool that we've been using all this time isn't the only way to approach exercise. Maybe we can even go the opposite direction and get some benefits there as well. And that's what we're talking about when we go in the opposite direction, where we say, instead of bashing and smashing and trying to rip your muscles to shreds, you take an exercise and you work it moderately. Like if you can do 10 pull-ups, you stop after 5 or 6 reps. But while that doesn't beat you up, what the advantage is, you can also come back and do the very same thing the very next day. So you can do push-ups or pull-ups every single day of the week. And there's a lot of advantages to this, as you might imagine. One is you don't get wrecked. So if you have other physical things that you need to do, like training MMA, or you have a physically laborious job, you're not going to be done on your feet, and it's not going to compromise your training or work in the other area. 2 is it doesn't take nearly as much of a toll on your body. So joints, your nervous system, any sort of issues that you might have that are compromised when you really get tired and fatigued, like if your immune system, you get sick easily and stuff, that stuff is a lot easier to deal with. Motivation can go through the roof as well, because it takes a lot of motivation to really drive yourself into the ground. But if you go into a workout knowing that you're just basically getting your blood flowing, that's a lot easier to handle. Recovery is faster and a lot easier as well. So if other lifestyle habits like sleep or diet, or you're always stressed out due to other things that are compromising your recovery, it's a lot easier to recover from an exercise session that doesn't require as much recovery. But the biggest advantage to doing this is it improves your proficiency. And this is why I talk about it in my CC Plus program, because especially when it comes to these days where we've got a lot of skill-based approaches to exercise, like progressive calisthenics, kettlebells, Olympic lifting, and so on, your ability to get better results is always based on the foundation of your technical proficiency. In other words, if you want to get bigger and stronger and faster, you have to just simply get good at doing the exercise in the first place. And like anything else in life, when it comes to practice, you want more frequency to improve your proficiency. It's very hard to improve playing the piano when you practice it once or twice a week for like 5 minutes. It's much easier when you do it every single day. Same thing with exercise. Doing pull-ups every single day makes you a lot more proficient and comfortable with hanging from a bar and pulling yourself up than if you did it just once or twice a week. So those are the biggest advantages to it. Now, when it comes to the results that you're asking, well, of course, proficiency is a result that can improve there. If you're struggling to recover, and that's holding back your results, because a lot of times people, when it comes to building strength and muscle, it's the recovery that's holding them back. So suddenly, if you don't need perfect diet and sleep habits to recover, having a better or faster ability to recover can be just like having excellent recovery habits. And then you're practicing more frequently as well, too. So sometimes when it comes to building muscle, some experts argue that volume is key. So with low fatigue, you can build up the volume substantially over the week, month, hell, even the year. I've known people who measure volume by how many reps they do over the course of an entire year. If you can even double or even triple your volume in a given amount of time, I find that hard to believe that's not going to help you get bigger and stronger. Now, on the flip side, when is it not the best? Well, when you're trying to improve your work capacity, for one, your endurance. Like if you came to me and said, I need to be able to do as many push-ups as possible, this wouldn't exactly be the number one strategy that I would use, because you've got to be able to put yourself under that stress of pushing yourself through the pain, of feeling the muscle burn, and you keep going. Same thing with running long distances, same thing with doing anything that's going to work your work capacity. So when work capacity is a goal, you don't want to just take it easy and add the volume all the time. Also, intensity can be good for mental toughness, and it can be also good for other sorts of like cardiovascular function and so on. So the biggest thing about today's lesson, though, is a couple of things. One is that when it comes to fatigue and recovery, there's not one universal best way to go about it. Like working out and then having to rest 24, 48 hours is a general idea, but let's not get dogmatic about it. It doesn't apply for all kinds of exercise or all kinds of approaches. You can even do the same type of workout, but the amount of fatigue you have should dictate the amount of recovery you need. And that means more than just the workout in of itself, because the same workout can bring different levels of fatigue to different people based on training history, conditioning, recovery habits, and so on. Like I could give 2 different people 100 push-ups, and one person could literally consider that a warm-up and be like, that's nothing. I've literally known people like that. They do 200 dips and 200 pull-ups as their warm-up. They're jacked and strong as all hell. So if I gave them 100 push-ups, they don't need to recover 2 or 3 days from that. They're ready to go even 10 minutes after that. But other folks, fairly deconditioned, they could be like, I really need to take a day or 2 off. I can barely move my arms. So let fatigue, your personal fatigue, be more of a guide of how much recovery you need. Because I get emails all the time from folks saying, I did this and they say I need this much rest, but I don't think I need that much rest. Well, you probably don't. You're probably good to go sooner than that. But the flip side can also be true, where you go and you do like a couch to 10K program, and after your first run, you're like, I can't run on this day that they say I need to be able to run. I feel like I need another day. Well, then take another day for sure. Listen to your body, listen to your fatigue, because your fatigue level determines the amount of recovery you need, not what the exercise or the workout actually is. The second thing is to use both high fatigue, low frequency, and low fatigue, high frequency training in your program accordingly. it's not that one is good and bad or anything. It's for different goals. So again, consider the example I have in my CC Plus program. If you're listening to this on the Red Delta Project page or on YouTube, I'll put a link down below. You can download that program. But the whole idea behind it is to combine the two. You have 1 or 2 days out of the week where you really push that muscle hard in that exercise, really fatigue it, so you're really pushing that work capacity. But the other days of the week, you're taking it easy. You're going with a lighter level of resistance. You're still practicing the basic motion, so you're building the proficiency in the exercise, but you're using it as a mode of recovery, keeping the blood flowing, lubing up the joints, but you're not working it to a high level of fatigue the other days. So it's not a either or, it's about use each one as appropriate for your goals. So hopefully that makes some sense to you. I hope that answers all of your questions. If I forgot something, leave it down below in the comment section if you're listening to this on YouTube, or if you're listening to this on the regular podcast. Hit me up, reddeltaproject@gmail.com. I really appreciate you folks listening. Again, if you're on YouTube, like it, subscribe, thumbs up, share it, all that. Spread the word. If you find it helpful, other people will find it helpful as well. And if you're listening to this on the podcasting stations, don't forget to subscribe so that way you don't miss an episode that comes out every week. Talk to you guys next week. Till then, be fit, live free.